It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and along today for the ride is Gucci's person. Hello, Aprylete Russell. How are you?
Hey, I am good. Feeling good today. Better than yesterday. Feeling great.
Okay. We'll talk about yesterday too. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. If you were up in the air, you were lucky, I guess. But if you were headed for the airport or scheduled for a flight yesterday, that was something. That was absolutely something. We will talk about that as we go on here. Um, Aprylette, you are our mental health and wellness contributor. Just want to stress to folks again, you are not a counselor, you're not a therapist, you are a contributor. This is your area of interest.
Yes.
Just by the same token, Cameron Riley is not a politician, um, with the exception of, I guess, with Coy and with Quinn. Coy does see herself as a social justice activist, and
Mm-hmm.
Quinn does represent the LGBTQ community. You represent the mental health and wellness community, but you
Yeah.
are not a counselor or a therapist. So I do want to mention that to people. We do have experts on when we can, but
Mm-hmm.
for the day-to-day weight of carrying the stories for this, it is based upon your interest and
Yeah.
your not only your interest but your
In my
concern.
experience, my concern,
Hmm.
my experience, and just being an advocate and advocating for the ones who cannot advocate for themselves. So it's just like
Right.
I literally talk from that standpoint and also
Hmm.
experience and from research. I definitely am very knowledgeable about mental health and mental illness. But if there's things that I do not know, I let it be known. And
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's like you said, I am not licensed. I am not a therapist. All I can do is speak from my experience and advocating for those.
Oh, wow. Ashley Ato Grant on Facebook. Sometimes I want to give up, but who will I leave my girls to?
Mm.
When will this storm pass? I need someone to talk to. I am a single mom. Um, I don't know if you have any suggestions. I do know that there are helplines for people who are going through this, and for prevention of doing harm to yourself. I know that the what is it, 988?
988 is the chat. So she can text this if you're watching right now. I mean, clearly you just typed. You can text that chat right now at 988. And then also I can leave some resources in the comment, whether that's Black Girls Therapy or spiritual therapy or just someone that you need to talk to right now. And being a single mother, I'm sure is very hard, but definitely don't give up. Um, it's you we live to fight another day, and I hate to
Hmm.
say like it's going to be okay, but when you think about something in your past that you've
Right.
made it through, you can look at this moment like, okay, well, I've gotten here, so I know
Yeah.
that I could get somewhere else.
That's really important. I
Yeah.
think that's great. Having been raised by a single mom, I understand. Michelle Lynn Summerall on Facebook says, "Single mom here. Please don't give up. You are not alone." And that's the one thing that we want to share with people is that you are not alone. I know sometimes you want to give up, but let us help you make this through the difficult times. I know that
Absolutely.
um, even before it was a village, my mom had a village to help during the difficult times after my dad died. And, I don't know what I would have done had the village not stayed in our lives after my mom died. And so that is, being there for each other and maintaining a sense of community and lifting people up during those difficult times. And even when they're struggling with their own young dogs or children. Yeah.
Gucci knows every time we go on live. I think he senses it, and now he wants to act a mess.
Yeah. My mom used to say that when she would get on the phone. She's like, "Why do you wait until I get on the phone?" And then everything has to be answered at that particular time.
Literally, he was just doing fine, laying on the couch,
He
having
was. You could
his
see
evening rest, and now
he had his little shirt on, his little striped shirt. He'd come out of his pajamas and
you
laying on
know,
the new couch and everything. And now
and now he want to act the fool. Sorry.
right, right. That's okay. That's okay. We love the Gucci Mane. Let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter in which we talk about topics that we think are of interest to us and therefore the African American community. And as I mentioned, Aprylete is our mental health and wellness contributor, and this is her area of interest. She is not a counselor, she's not a therapist, but she does really fine work in talking about these stories and bringing stories to our attention. This particular story that Aprylete talks about, experts are raising the alarm over TikTok's impact on mental health. And this is really important because we're not only talking about TikTok these days, Aprylete, in terms of the, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He tried to make his debut. Okay, hopefully
just,
he just relaxes.
He's so cute. He's just so cute. But politically speaking, a lot of governors, including most recently the Democratic governor of the state of Wisconsin, has called for no TikTok, no TikTok apps on the phones of state employees because they're worried about the security concerns. You're talking about how TikTok has now been is alarming people over the impact on the mental health, especially of young people. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So in this article, what I found was interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, we know that we spend hours on social media, whether that's TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn now, all of those sites. We spend hours on there, and it's literally like a blink of an eye. You look up and you've been online for an hour.
You go down. I say it's going down the
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
absolutely. And so a psychologist, he found it alarming that depression started to rise in 2012, and so did self-harm and suicide. So he links smartphones and social media to that as well because it grew during that time. And in 2019, 1 in 4 U.S. teens had experienced clinical depression. And this all comes from this psychiatrist out of San Diego. And so they did a study and they talked to different high schoolers. And so one high schooler was talking to I cannot say anorexia. Sorry. Anorexia videos being accessible on TikTok. And so it's one after another. And there's also videos on TikToks teaching people how to cut themselves. And going through.
Oh my God.
Yes. And those aren't being censored right now. And again, as you know, once you watch one video, the algorithm is going to show you another and another just like that. So TikTok did release a statement and they said, one of our most important commitments is supporting the safety and well-being of teens. And we recognize this work is never finished. We continue to focus on the robust safety precautions of our community while empowering parents with additional controls of their teens' account through TikTok family pairing. So now TikTok is trying to combat this whole mental health impact, and people really standing up saying that they have a feature for family pairing. I'm guessing that's where you can pair your phone with your child's phone to kind of monitor what they're doing. But to be honest, how much does that really work? Like I feel like it's like a band-aid on top of the bigger issue here. And throughout the article, when you talk to different high schoolers, one high schooler said that he suffered a lot in school and his grades fell because he couldn't get any sleep. Another one said that he was disappointed in his own life and
my God.
And wasn't happy because he was spending hours on the app, and he actually deleted the app in 2001, and just a lot of negative when it comes to the mental health. And I'm not saying that TikTok or social media in general is all negative, because I mean, we're on social media right now live and we're informing people. There's people starting businesses and things like that. But middle school, the Gen Z area right now, middle school and high school, this is a very vulnerable age. And when you think about being that age, you're already dealing with trying to establish your identity. You're already dealing with just
figure out who you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And like growing up. So then now you put this social media platform in front of you that's designed to be addictive, that literally releases all of the dopamines that like feel good energy into your brain. And then you're dealing with this. So it's just kind of like a recipe for disaster.
So I'm curious, because you mentioned the fact that you aren't sure how successful it is when parents pair their phones with their children. I've not seen that before. I know of one instance, and I don't know if I can share that, but I'm just curious if people are have experienced this, people who are watching and listening, if you've experienced this, and does it work? And do you see your children or grandchildren and their exposure to the social media platforms and how this works in their lives? I know Instagram has taken a lot of heat, and it's kind of fallen off a little bit. Now it's TikTok's turn. I go to TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but people send me their TikTok videos that are fun, and and I love the dog TikToks, and
that's my favorite.
And the babies and things like that. Things that are fun and make me laugh and bring joy to my heart. I don't pay attention to. I don't think whatever the algorithm is. I've not been exposed to those that talk about anorexia, and look at me.
It only takes don't even go there, wherever you was gonna go.
Yeah.
But it only takes literally one search. So whether that's a search on Google, even, I mean, now I could be overstepping, but even a text message. To be honest, my sister sent me a picture of some shoes. When I say I went on social media, those shoes were all up and down my timeline. So it can be just anything simple in your phone. And if we're thinking about people that are already exposed or suffering from some type of just mental distress, I won't even call it a mental illness, but just mental distress at the moment, they may Google something and then now it's popping up on TikTok. Now it's popping up on these social media platforms. So how do we really keep our children, or even as adults? I deleted my Instagram app, and what I noticed, my fingers literally kept going to the spot on my phone looking for Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It's wild. I deactivated my page, and this is recent. So in the new year, I deactivated my page. I just needed a moment. I'm not really active on there, but I was behind the scenes active. So I deactivated it for 5 days, 10 days, and you guys do have that option. I don't know if anybody has heard about that, but you can deactivate your page for a while, and then it'll still like have everything that you need when you want to come back. But long story short, so I deactivated it, and I still had the app. And I would always go to it. So I'm like, let me just delete the app now, because my fingers, it was literally like clockwork. Every time I picked up my phone, my finger wanted to go to the Instagram app.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting and kind of scary. I know people talk about the fact that they will just say something and the voice that we hear. I don't want to say the name. But all of a sudden they will hear this, whatever you're looking for, or I will say that we have a birthday girl coming up on the 20th of January. And so I was looking for something for her birthday. And all of a sudden, like you said, I just started getting all of these suggestions of some things that were related to what I was looking for. And I was like, son of a gun. Isn't that just,
Imagine how many couches I've looked at after I was looking for my couch.
Right. And good choice, by the way. Very nice. Love the color. Absolutely love the color. So that is what Aprylete is talking about in today's What You Need to Know newsletter. And I think this is a discussion that we need to continue to have. And I know that as a contributor, you are also endeavoring to bring on people talking about some of these things. So we will look forward to that as well in future episodes of It's Sybil. Something else that involved you, and not by choice, yesterday. This is our story in the newsletter. This is what I worked on, talking about the friendly skies, which were not so much. All planes grounded, into outside of, just no planes flying anywhere in the United States yesterday morning because it was a computer glitch.
So they realized that it was a glitch. It wasn't a cyber attack or anything like that. That was kind of maybe circulating. So it was a glitch.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that was the fear. A lot of people in the FBI said, no, there was no cyber attack. For whatever that's worth. They're saying that a critical FAA system suffered an overnight glitch, grounding flights across the U.S. The FAA posted an advisory early Wednesday, notes that the United States NOTAM, its notice to air mission system, failed, but said just before 9 a.m., normal air traffic operations were resuming gradually. In a tweet Wednesday evening, the regulator said it was continuing to investigate the outage that it had traced to a damaged database file. It was a corrupted file. We've all heard that, but darn it, what affects our work at our daily work, but not in the skies and affecting people all over the world.
All over the world. That right there, that's a listen. Let me just tell you, I was on the plane. So luckily,
I was going to ask you, tell your story.
Sorry.
No, really.
Luckily, I was able to make my flight and everything. So I will say all praises to that. But when I was on the plane, I get on and then I get a text from you like, hey, I know you're traveling today. Like, were you affected? And the pilot did say to me, not to me, but to everybody on the plane, he was just like, oh, yeah, we're waiting on fuel. And so I'm just like, I wonder if this has anything to do with what's going on. Because you said fuel, but I'm thinking there's a bigger issue. And so I have been out of the loop with news, I will say. So then I started doing my research and I said, oh, Jesus, this is what it is. So we literally sat on the plane for about 45 minutes. So yeah, we were delayed and then we finally took off. And then coming back was an issue as well. So I left Dallas and went to Atlanta. When I got to Atlanta, everything was delayed. And so pretty much what they were saying, since everything was like now the times are different. So there was already a plane, in their spot where we needed to be at that time and things like that. And so when I came back, there was another delay about an hour. And then we get on the plane. And so the connecting flight, they were delayed. So we had to wait on those folks. And then as we're going to the runway to leave, we're actually watching. I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing planes kind of like we're all kind of doing the same thing. I've never really, we're lined up. I've never really experienced where like all of the planes are kind of like stationed at once because everybody has their time where they fly off. But since everything was delayed and they were trying to, get things up and running, like we were all just kind of jam-packed in that area. And then one plane after the next, we just kind of took off, like that. But
well, and this was a day trip. You were going in and out of a city in one day. That was your hope. But thousands of delays and cancellations yesterday.
All across the world. When I read it's just like more than 21,000 flights were delayed and canceled. So I'm so happy that mine wasn't, because it was a day trip. Clearly I needed to get there and come back in a timely fashion. But I will say, since I was delayed, so Gucci's daycare closes at 9:00. My flight gets back at 8:20. So I'm booking it down the highway to get Gucci from the daycare because I did not want him to be boarded. I took him at like 7 that morning and I needed to pick him up by 9, and that's how I booked my flights. But since everything was about an hour behind, I hop in my car and I'm just driving down the highway really fast.
Well, let me just say, the way we do with our friends' children, if you need that, you can call me and I'll go. If you put me on the list.
Look, don't say it twice, because I'm just adding you to the list now.
And Gucci apparently agrees. Absolutely. Yes. So not only was there a glitch, but there has to be a real investigation into this, because a glitch is one thing. Corrupted files, you have to go through and just kind of go through the system. And what's the backup? If this doesn't work, all right, well, what's the next? What's the answer? What do we have to back us up so that we don't, have people, their days and their travels and everything upset and just
air travel is very important, especially domestically. Air travel is, I hope this showed them that air travel is very essential to us here in the US. Like that's one of our, I guess, 1, 2, 3 means of transportation at this point.
So FlightAware is a platform that reports on all the flights that are up in the air or preparing or descending. And they reported that almost 10,000 delayed flights and almost 1,500 canceled flights in the U.S. at one point of time. So if this was a part of your day, I'm so very sorry. And also, I do want you to check on your folks in Alabama. More than a dozen tornadoes reported in Alabama, and we'll talk about that too. But this is weather and travel and all of this is a part of our day-to-day. So do check on all of these things. Cameron talks in the What You Need to Know newsletter about the cooler temperatures and the hottest oceans. The world's oceans were the hottest ever recorded in 2022. And that demonstrates the profound and pervasive changes that human-based emissions have made to the planet's climate. And we always talk about climate change and what's going on in places like California, but most definitely. So take a look at that, as well as also our coronavirus update in the What You Need to Know newsletter, and another in the social justice back pocket of Coy Malone. An officer fatally shot a Black man in the back as he drove away. This was in Clayton County, Georgia. Once again, a horrific situation. So the What You Need to Know newsletter is still free in 2023. Please go to SybilWilkes.com and sign up for the subscription, and it will be in your email box. You get your name and your email address. It'll be in your box every Monday through Friday morning. So thank you very much.
Right and early in the box. I'm not just saying it because I'm a contributor, but I actually subscribe as well, and it is in my email box bright and early every morning, Monday through Friday.
And please, when you get it and it's early, open it.
Yeah,
that's really important to us as well. All right, so that's what's happening in the news, in the newsletter. Let's move to the what's really going on, our question of the day. And this is dictated by something that happened to Yolanda today.
Okay.
And so her niece went to audition for an arts magnet program. And it brought to mind and want people to go back and think about their days as a youngster, as a teenager. Do you remember going for your dreams when you were younger? And the question is, so a couple of questions related to that. Do you remember going for your dreams, what your dreams were, and going for them when you were younger? Who encouraged you? Who might have been the person that discouraged you? And how far did you get in fulfilling your dreams? And I ask that, and I don't want to make anybody sad or anything, but it's never too late.
That's true.
Like when I win the Mega Millions, I am going to fulfill the dream that I had many years ago when I told my mom that I was going to drop out of college and become a bartender in Hawaii. And she told me I could do that in June 18th. And I was like, June 18th, this is January. And she said, no, June 17th is the day you graduate from college. On the 18th, you can go and you can become that bartender. So that was my dream. Not artistic, mind you, but definitely a dream of mine. And Mega Millions will allow me to do that.
Absolutely. And I will be right there with you. Can I get me a Bahama Mama, please?
One Bahama Mama coming up.
Okay.
So do you remember when you were a girl, Aprylete, and what your dreams were and going for them?
Absolutely. When you asked this question, my wheels would turn. I'm like, what story do I want to tell? Because my dream was actually deferred. And I wanted to be a singer, and I've been a writer all my life, but I wrote an essay. I was in third grade. I'll never forget. So I wrote an essay about me wanting to be a singer because this was my dream. And I won this essay contest, and it was presented to me, and they were like, okay, so perfect. We're going to pay for you for singing lessons for Coca. And so I got a check written in my name to go to, the singing lessons at Coca, which is, I'm guessing like an arts, center. So all of that. Won the check, gave it to my mom, of course. I'm just like, all right, so I won singing lessons. I won this contest of my writing, yada, yada. Did I go? Am I a singer? No. And so my mother,
what happened?
I don't know where this check went. And I ask her to this day. I always tell and I tease her, but I'm just like, at the end of the day, I am who I am today. But I tease her all the time. And I say, Mother, you deferred my dreams because I wanted to be a singer. And you lost this Coca check for me to take singing lessons. So yeah, I don't really know. She never told me what happened to this check or why I did not go take the singing lessons. And she was a single mother and things like that. So as an adult, I'm like, she probably just could not even afford, because now we had this check, but even just get me to the classes and outside of our regular routine of me getting picked up from school, going to the babysitters. So I'm sure that was probably the reason. But I wanted to be a singer and I won a contest and my dreams were deferred.
So would you still do it if you could?
Probably not. I realized that I like to sing just, in general, but I don't think that I want to be a performer in that type of way. So I would not circle back and do the singing. However, I definitely would love to just do other type of like classes. So I used to dance when I was younger, and I would love to do like adult ballet classes.
Adult ballet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would love that.
Okay. I'm the klutz, so the dancing part would not work for me. I was in theater for a long time, and I remember starting out. I think it was I want to say it was like 8th grade, maybe high school. I had to write a speech in French. And so I wrote an Oscar, accepting my Oscar award for acting in French. And I remember my French teacher looked at me like, "Really? This is and but that was, that was something that
you wanted to do.
I really wanted to do. Yeah.
So do you remember this speech? I'm sorry.
I don't, and first of all, I don't know where it would be in my mom's house, but I would have to also go back and take French lessons
Brush up on your French.
to try to translate what I wrote. But I remember Mrs. Swift looking at me like, "This is what we're writing about." Sorry, okay. And I guess that's why I like award shows now, because I always like to see what people say. So we'll see. Yolanda, do we have people who are have their suggestions for their dreams? Michelle Lynn Summerall on Facebook says, "I wanted to be an author since I was 7. It happened at 56. It's never too late. Come on." My mother always encouraged me. My uncle told me to follow that dream, but get another job too. And that's great advice. And, people tell us about having plan A and having plan B and plan C.
Yeah.
And that's what people who go into the arts, especially, I know that Yolanda's niece, Jordan, went to audition today and in an art school. And that is something that, you may not reach your dream. There are very few overnight success stories. There are a lot of people who put in a lot of work, a lot of sweat equity in order to reach their dream in theater, in music, in visual arts, you name it. But you also have to have something that will keep a skill of some type that'll keep you working until you reach that dream. Yeah,
keep that roof over your head. And I kind of look at dreams too. It's just when you think about the dream and like the big scheme of it, I understand that. But what is the fulfillment attached to it? Because even if you have not made it to that grandiose stage, if you're fulfilled at doing that every day, whether that is singing, dancing, performing, piano playing, and things like that. If you are fulfilled doing that every day, the dream is there.
The dream is, and the dream shall never die.
Yeah,
the dream shall never die. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to our responses and see what people are saying. And I don't know. Okay, CM Williams on Facebook. Unfortunately, many times I was the one to discourage myself instead of someone else. So I'm curious, CM, if you could just expound on that a little bit more. Tell us how you discouraged yourself, and was there someone who, each time you were discouraging yourself, was there someone who was still trying to lift you up and encourage you to do those things? I really do. I'm a believer in us supporting each other's dreams. Shirley Ann Tony Davis on Facebook. My dreams were to graduate from high school at 15, and I did it. Good for you.
Now. Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, get that out of there. Get it done. Get it done.
At 15, I was probably skipping school. and you graduated. That's awesome.
I love that. I was too scared of my mom to
oh, you were too scared? I definitely had my moments where I skipped a class or two. But I graduated from college. So I will
come on.
Okay.
Okay. You University of Mizzou. All right.
That's right.
L Jack on YouTube. Thank you so much. Nothing to do with dream, but you look great in those glasses. I knew Yolanda would put that up there because she picked the glasses out for me. So thank you. And Yolanda thanks you too. It says, I told you. You're confirming what she said. Olivia Ferguson on Facebook. I always wanted to play the piano. And so what happened? Come on,
go get you a keyboard, and
that's right. But don't go to YouTube. Go and take lessons.
No YouTube University, and that's what the kids say. They say YouTube University. So I guess that's not a real thing because you.
Well, it is. It is for them. But if we can afford to help someone take lessons, let's do that. So because there's a way to sit, the way to hold your hands, the way to, even with a guitar or a piano or whatever the instrument is, there's a proper way to do it, and which will enhance your playing ability. And so go get those lessons. Shirley Ann Tony Davis, college was my best days. I just wanted to get away from my house. Wow. So at 15, you knew that you could do that, get out of high school and go and have your best days ahead of you in college. That's really great. That's really great. I had to work so hard. I can't say that college were my best days, but because I had a lot of fun in high school. But I will say that I wasn't that big of a hurry to grow up, because I had a pretty good growing up period, being an adult and all of that. So
it's a scam. If there's anyone watching that is like under the age of 21, don't rush it, okay? Because it's a scam. Yeah. Being an adult is a scam.
I'm telling you, adulting ain't easy.
It's not.
It really is not. It's a tougher gig. So let me go back to our original question for people who may be just joining us. Do you remember going for your dreams when you were younger? What were those dreams? And who were the people who encouraged you? Who were those who discouraged you? And how far did you get? And do you think it's too late? I hope you don't. And whatever we can do to encourage you to still fulfill your dreams, that would be great. All right, Charlotte Bowen Bellamy, you knew I had some questions following up for this. Facebook, Charlotte says, I wanted to be an artist. I was very good in drawing. I won contests and I was asked to compete for a scholarship. I did get a scholarship, not the big prize. My father stated no money will be made. That was a no. I did get an opportunity to show my talent while I was teaching, and I loved art. Oh, so I don't know if you can see behind me, but this over here is a drawing from J. Anthony Brown. J. Anthony Brown is a really good artist. Yeah. And he has a lot of his artwork. And a lot of times back during the days of the Joiner, you could hear when our mics were open, you could hear like this scratching and like pencil on paper. And it was Jay coloring, as I like to call it. But he was doing his art. And then this one is a gift that I got from my good friend Kia, who is an engineer, and she gave me that when I left the Joiner show. So beautiful. I love art, and my art is photography. So we will see. So once again, do you remember going for your dreams? Who helped you? Who discouraged you? And is it too late if you have not followed through on your dreams? Like Charlotte said, she loves art, and now I'm thinking in her classroom, she probably encouraged her students to do that. And also as adults, maybe looking back at what we say to kids, to young people, that we can help them in whatever way possible to keep going. Yeah, I don't know. All right. So Aprylete is here. We're talking about a whole mishmash of things. But as I mentioned, I've got some other stories I want to talk to you about. So let's talk about what's trending.
All right.
As I mentioned earlier, call your folks in Alabama. More than a dozen tornadoes were reported in the state of Alabama, including one that caused significant damage in Selma, according to the mayor. Flights were grounded at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport due to the nearby thunderstorm. So it's a good thing you went the day before to Atlanta. Yeah. Even with all that happened. Several storms capable of tornadoes were sweeping across the southeast, already injuring several people in Alabama and leaving damage across several states, according to authorities and forecasters. More than 35 million people under some level of threat of severe storms, according to the Storm Prediction Center. And the mayor of Alexander City, Alabama, said the city is still assessing the damage caused by Thursday afternoon severe weather outbreak. It took the storm took a 2-mile track in the city. And some folks are saying that wasn't just a storm, that was a tornado that went through there. And a state trooper was trapped in his patrol car after a tree fell on it, but the patrolman did survive, thank goodness.
Good.
The mayor went on to say there are at least 10 homes destroyed, at least 20 homes were heavily damaged. No injuries so far, and for that, they feel they're blessed and very lucky. Alexander City is located in Tallapoosa County, northeast of the Montgomery.
Okay.
Did you have a lot of storms growing up in St. Louis? Do you remember tornadoes and things like that?
I mean, I wouldn't say a lot, but definitely experienced them. More floods than anything. Yeah, more floods than anything, but we definitely got a mixture of everything that you can kind of think of. Like being in the Midwest, it's like we kind of get maybe not earthquakes, but everything else. We kind of experience like everything else. So yeah, I would say more floods of anything. What about you in Chicago?
Yeah, we had a little everything.
Yeah.
we had tornadoes, we had flooding, and snowstorms.
Yeah, I wonder if the kids still do in school the tornado. Remember tornado drill when we have to like go in the hallway and do that? I wonder if that's still a thing.
I would hope so. I
would hope so too. But
if they're doing drills for shooters in the school, I hope that they're also doing it for the tornadoes as well. Yeah. I'm not saying that one, is more important than the other.
Right? No, I get it.
Saving the lives of our children and our teachers is very much important.
Yeah.
This is good news for more than 70,000 nurses in New York City are no longer on strike. They reached a successful settlement. 3-day strike ended today after reaching a tentative contract that union officials say offers better working conditions in addition to pay raises. The tentative deals involved 2 medical centers, 2 hospitals, Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan and Montefiore Medical Center in the Bronx. Raises totaling 19% over 3 years. Still not enough for them, I bet. And nurses began returning to work at both hospitals Thursday morning. They, represented by the New York State Nurses Association, walked out early Monday after negotiations with management ran aground. Each hospital has over 1,000 beds and 3,500 or more union nurses. So what they were asking for, not only for raises, which they definitely deserve because nurses, we know, do not get paid enough, but they were also asking for more employees in the hospitals to kind of give them some assistance, nurses assistance and things like that, because they said, they couldn't take vacations. They were, I think that one nurse said that if she did not come in and had a sick day or whatever, they were threatened with being fired because they didn't have anybody to fill their spaces. They were often delayed. They couldn't even like go have a break for lunch.
So no real balance when it came
to go to the bathroom.
That's terrible. Yeah.
And I mean, that just seems inhuman. And they said there's nothing impossible for the nurse heroes, and that is the truth. This is a historic victory for them. And they are saying that they're back at work. According to the nurses, there are more than 500 open positions at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan alone. At Montefiore, they have 170 nursing positions, an increase that's called float pool nurses. And they will add more registered nurses and nurse practitioners to the emergency departments. But they said they just are. When you think about during the coronavirus and how, the numbers were just off the charts for the people that were being treated, and how they were all, no time off. The lives that they had to live, being separated from their families. We were talking about this with Huggy the other day, and having knowledge of this with medical professionals having to come home or not even go close to their homes and having to live in hotels or in the hospitals, and how they would, as soon as they would leave, they would have to, pull the clothes off because all of that and range off before you could go anywhere else because the fear of spreading germs. Because at the time,
that is
just
a lot.
had no idea how this was affecting us.
Wow. And so how long were they on strike? I'm curious.
Just 3 days.
Okay. I'm curious to know how everything kind of, I'm sure operation, kept going in the hospital because there's still patients, but how that really affected the hospital with all of the nurses, from
Right.
that particular one being on strike.
And that's what a lot of families were saying. I support the nurses, but I have a loved one who is here.
Yeah,
And so, if I have to go in and help them, although I'm not trained for this,
I will. They're like, hey,
yeah,
I'll jump in if I can. But now, I mean, if there's anybody watching that's in New York, Manhattan, that's a registered nurse that could be possibly looking for a job,
yeah, for
they said
sure.
open 500 positions open. I mean,
Yeah, and I don't know, they used to talk about the shortage of nurses and how they were being compensated for their work, and you don't hear that anymore.
yeah,
You hear once again they're being taken advantage of, and this is women and men. We know that a lot of men are, in the nursing business or nurse practitioner business, and as opposed to when I was a little girl, it was almost
all
unheard
women.
of. It was all women, and I had a lot of them in my family, and just know the good work that they do and
Yeah.
did over those years. So, um, you have just moved to North Texas, and another big business is moving to North Texas.
Yes, I heard this. Now, this is one thing I did hear because I don't really hear much because you let me know everything I need to know. But are you talking about, can I take a guess?
Yes, please.
Are you talking about Universal Studios
Yes, ma'am.
opening up in Frisco, Texas?
Yeah, to the north of Dallas, Frisco to the north, I guess to the northeast of Dallas. Frisco is where the Cowboys are headquartered, not
Yeah.
the big stadium in Arlington, but this is where
Where
the
they
practice
practice.
facility, and they do their business operations out of Frisco, Texas. It'll be a kids theme park, immersive experiences and rides involving Universal movies, just like the Universal you go to in Los Angeles or in Orlando. Another major development coming to Texas. And the
Wow.
executives announced the company plans to open a park in Frisco, Texas, which is Collin County, a suburb of Dallas. And they said the will involve Universal movies, and it will include a 300-room family-friendly hotel.
Oh, wow.
People of all ages will be welcome, but the park is designed for families with children under the age of 10. Universal currently operates 5 theme parks worldwide and several more resorts. And the Frisco Park will sit on, it's just hard to believe, but if you drive through Texas, there's still an amazing amount of just wide open land, right? Frisco Park will sit on 97 acres near the Dallas Tollway and Panther Creek Pathway for people who live in the area. It'll be about 1/4 the size of Universal's main theme parks, and the Frisco Park will be a scale-appropriate design for a young family audience. They said they wanted to come to Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex because this is one of the largest in the country and one of the fastest growing, and that is true.
Yep.
A lot of folks are coming, and because the cost of living is really a little easier on the pocket than in other places. And said within that, we picked Frisco because it's just a very dynamic, exciting city. You can see the growth all around you. It has a high family population, just seemed like the perfect place for us to go. And they say they're looking at it as a regional park. So they expect visitors will not only come from within the state of Texas, but outside of Texas as well, because it'll be pretty close from Oklahoma.
Yep.
Just like folks from Texas go up to the casinos to Oklahoma, folks from Oklahoma will come down here for the parks.
Yeah, I think that's great. More job opportunities out there as well. And when I was younger, I actually went to Universal Studios in Orlando and in California. I went both. So I think that that's something that kids could, definitely enjoy and should enjoy. Like that's one of, a nice little milestone when you're a kid. These kids nowadays.
I lived around the corner from Universal in LA, and I didn't go. But I don't know why.
Like when you live close to different things, it's like, oh, I'm a local. I don't need to do that. I don't need to go there. That's very common.
Right. But I should have, I guess.
It's okay. It's all right. I'll live the memory for you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. We did do Universal in Orlando, however.
Okay. Did you ever do Disney World or Disneyland?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I did those too.
Yeah. You did both?
Yeah, I did both too.
When I was a kid, it was Disneyland and going to visit my cousins and this is before your time, but the e-tickets were the big thing. Going to Disney tickets, you would buy a book of tickets.
Oh,
And
no, like a book of tickets. No, I remember
yeah,
that. And I think they
yeah,
used to give them out like at timeshares or something. Like if you
yeah,
would sit in a timeshare, they would give you.
yep. And the e-tickets were for for the premium rides and like Space
Yes,
Mountain and what have you.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah, we ran out of those e-tickets, and then sooner, than you're driving, you're going on. It's a small world after all. A lot of that. So, when I win the Mega Millions, I will remember all of you, especially Gucci,
Oh,
whatever Gucci wants.
Goody,
Yeah.
you hear that? Oh.
The new Mega Millions jackpot is $1.35 billion.
Woo.
The game's second highest pot yet.
Yeah.
No winner in Tuesday night's drawing. The numbers were 7, 13, 14, 15, 18, and the gold mega ball was 9. Friday night, a new milestone if there is no winner. But this is moving up and making history as the second highest Mega Millions jackpot ever. The only Mega Millions jackpot higher than Friday's prize was the $1.5 billion won in South Carolina in 2018.
So if you win, would you go public or would you not? Would you stay low key and not release your name?
Oh, I'm going to stay very low key.
Yeah.
But you will know because I won't be here. You'll know.
Like you're in Hawaii. I'm like, oh, she didn't won.
Right. And she's got her little bar there, bar/bookstore right near the water. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So. Well, we're going to put our hands in the pot. We just going to do a whole nice little pool and then we'll just go from there.
Okay.
Because I'm putting my bid in too.
All right. Okay. Mega Millions sold around the country as well as Washington, D.C. and the U.S. Virgin Islands for folks that are trying to play there. A big payday for Dr. Dre. I don't know if you saw this, but Dr. Dre is working on a deal to sell his catalog of music for $200 million. That's a nice little amount of money. Okay. Good for you. He has his sights set on this music deal it's over $200 million, close to selling most of his music assets in 2 separate deals. One was Shamrock Holdings and another with Universal Music Group. And the possible deal looks like this. Dre sells his artist royalties from 2 of his solo albums, his share of NWA artist royalties, plus his producer royalties, and the writer's share of the music that he doesn't own publishing rights. It's a potential deal with the Universal Music Group that's a little different. He sells the master recording of his solo album, The Chronic, plus his share of some of his Kendrick Lamar music. Not selling all of his music because this doesn't sound like it is. Billboard says that these transactions are mostly passive income streams. We should all have passive income streams like this.
$200 million.
That generate about $10 million annually. And he's not selling the ownership stake in some of his other music projects.
Well, isn't he lucky?
Isn't he
to have the ability to do all of it?
And smart that he waited till after his divorce was final to do this.
No, literally.
His wife just could have been a little bit more patient. I don't know. This is great news. I'm so happy for this young woman. I hope that she finds some peace and happiness in her life. Naomi Osaka, the tennis pro, has announced that she is pregnant. She's going to take a break from tennis and plans to return to competition in 2024. She posted what she called a little life update for 2023 on social media. And she's been dating the rapper Corday for years. She said, I know that I have so much to look forward to in the future. One thing I'm looking forward to is for my kid to watch one of my matches and tell someone, that's my mom.
Oh.
She hasn't played competitive tennis since September and withdrew from the Australian Open, which begins this weekend. She has won that tournament twice, along with 2 U.S. Open championships. And as we know, she has taken mental health breaks in recent years and doesn't play again until after the Pacific Pan Open in Tokyo. shortly after failing in the first round of the U.S. Open. So she has the next few months away, given a new love and appreciation for the game that she's dedicated her life to. And now she will become a mom and have that bonding time with her child, and plans to come back next year, perhaps at the Australian Open, where she retired after holding the number one position. I'm really excited for her. She's 23, 24 years old. And we were talking about this the other day. Having a baby at 23 or 24 is really the smart thing to do.
Because baby.
I don't want to discourage you, Aprylete, from having children, if that is your dream. Because I think you would be a great mother. And I think that and some child would be lucky to have you, but it really is for the young. I as young as I may feel, I'm way past my prime.
You like I am. You're not into all of that no more.
That horse is out of the barn. The closest I come to raising something is the dog I plan to get this year.
Are you really gonna get a dog this year?
I really am.
Okay, let's go.
I'm putting it out there. Right. My problem, Aprylete, with that, and then we'll move to entertainment. My problem with that is I can't find. There's not just one. Like when I go through Instagram and I see all the dogs of the ASPCA and all the kennels and what have you, and I'm talking strays that are bright.
You fall in love with all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you just have to go when you go in person, the one that speaks to you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're going, are you going to do a rescue?
That's what I'm hoping to do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you do a rescue, I don't have a rescue, but I am sure like once you go, you'll fall in love with one, and one will really like just speak to you and be like, "Mom, I'm ready to go home."
Put me in a shirt like Gucci is what he'll say. All right, let's move to entertainment. And I don't know if people know this, but Sybil's Book Club has been revived. We had a wonderful session with Derek Barnes with his book, which is called Victory Last Stand, and or Victory Stand. It's about the 1968 Olympics in Mexico, in which Black Power really came to the forefront in international sport. And so we had a great conversation with him over the Christmas holiday, and the Sybil's Book Club has been revived, and I hope that she will be a guest. And she, being Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown, is writing her memoirs.
Wow.
How cool is that? So Yolanda Sarkswhite, please make a note of that. We would like to get on her calendar. She will be telling her story in a new memoir entitled Lovely One. Lovely One. And so that's going to be another question. When you do tell your life story, what's it going to be called? And we're going to make that an express yourself question. This will give us insight into her journey from childhood to motherhood, her amazing feat in the U.S. justice system as the first Black woman to serve on the Supreme Court. And it's described as a transparent accounting of what it takes to rise through the ranks of the legal profession, especially as a woman of color with an unusual name, and as a mother and wife striving to reconcile the demands of a high-profile career with the private needs of her loved ones. Wow.
Come on now. Yeah.
My hope is that the fullness of my journey as a daughter, sister, mother, wife, litigator, and friend will stand as a testament for young women, people of color, and dreamers everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody get a question.
No word on when the memoir will be released, but
that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be. Oh my! And I hope, and nothing against Prince Harry. I've had enough. I have not read the book, but I have enough from the book to know that I really don't need it. But his book has been so popular, and I think it's kind of it's kind of a way to show the royal family that they don't care what they say about him. But his book has risen to the top faster than any book, including the former First Lady Michelle Obama's. It's called Spare, and spare meaning when he was born, his father referred to William as the heir, and Harry was the spare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's where that comes from.
Okay.
I just hope that they find happiness, that he and his wife Megan find happiness.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of happiness, it's now time for our daily inspiration and Yogi's Jewels. Surround yourself with people who have good energy. Surround yourself with people who have good energy. I've done that today. Aprylete, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Keep doing the great work and raising a beautiful dog.
Y'all want to see Goody Daddy before
Yeah.
we head on out? Say hi.
Oh, bye, Gucci. Oh, look, he's so human-like. Look at him. Oh my gosh, I love that dog so much. All right, everybody. Love you too. Take care. See you next time. Aloha.
See ya.
I can do this for a while. Okay.
But forget about it.
Maybe not. Chica, Yolanda, anybody?
Anybody home?
Hello.